Welcome to This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your local experts on all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Listen in as they discuss the current state of the market, the latest trends, and have a little fun while doing it. We do want to say the opinions voiced on this podcast are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individuals.
Of emojis, right?
Nobody can see that.
Oh,
that's just
except
us.
me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So welcome to This Week in Real Estate, where we put.
Was it really there?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh,
Jonathan.
the glaring and glaringly obvious.
We put the glare and glaringly obvious, glaringly obvious market out here for real estate. It's a happening market. We got microphones that are moving independently of each
There we
other.
go. All right.
So I mean, to me, I think the best thing that we could do for this show is give the people what they want.
Give them what they want. What do they want?
Market movers and headlines.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it. It's a good idea.
Are we back? We're back. All right, let's put our phones down, except I
have an article pulled up on mine.
I do too.
Yeah.
You want to go first?
No, you go ahead.
All right. So this is a big week for the Federal Reserve. They're meeting. I don't know. Was it Jerome Powell's last meeting? These are things I should know.
It's got to be at least close. If
it's not his last, it's his next to last.
Yeah.
He came out and said that that they do not expect rates to be lowered again for a year. Now he's going his way out, so the new guy might try to steer the board a different direction. But again, he's just going to be the leader of the board. He's just going to be the president of the board. He doesn't have any extra votes and can't do anything that he wants to. He can just try to use his influence and leadership to do what he wants to see happen. So here's the article though. This is on MBS Live. At almost any moment in March of 2026, a glance at the 10-year versus oil price chart had revealed sufficient correlation to blame the bond route on the energy price spiral. So basically, oil's going up and it's causing bonds to go up, which makes interest rates go up, right? So we talked about that a little bit last week, that the money's flowing out of mortgage-backed securities over to bonds. So to compete for investor dollars, mortgage-backed securities have to go up. But the correlation is spotty at times, and today is one of those starkest examples. Oil essentially is flat while bonds surge to higher yields overnight. We don't normally focus much on the 2-year treasuries, but the selling there is much worse than the 10-year, so we could be leading towards an inverted yield curve.
Again.
Yep. Reflecting a rapidly changing outlook for the Fed funds rate. Indeed, the odds of a rate hike, not a cut in April, rose from just over 4% to just over 10% this morning. The big shifts in the 2s versus the 10 yield curves speak to the same phenomenon. Oil prices and econ data are easily being drowned out by this large-scale repositioning for higher for longer short-term rates.
Interesting.
So, and basically, in the matter of 48 hours, the likelihood of there being a short-term interest rate hike, not a mortgage rate hike, but what the Fed does, we talk about this a lot. For those who don't watch often, the Fed target funds, the Fed says that they're going to raise rates or lower rates. They're talking about short-term rates. And so the likelihood of that short-term rate increasing in April shot up from 4% to 10% in a 24 or 48-hour period.
Well, and to be clear, that rate is what the Federal Reserve charges banks to loan them money.
Right. That's that short-term overnight target funds rate. And so
it obviously trickles out and it manifests in different ways from the banks to the consumer. But specifically, when they talk about the Fed raising or lowering rates,
right,
that's the rate they're talking
about. That's going to impact credit cards, HELOCs. That's going to impact car loans.
HELOCs, big time.
Things like that. But it won't affect it until they actually make a cut. What gets affected on the whispers of a cut, what gets affected on the possibility that there might be a cut, those things are going to be mortgages. That's going to be, so mortgages are going to change overnight on the rumors. They're going to buy the news before it hits the papers, right? So you're already seeing mortgage rates kind of, I don't want to use an alarmist kind of word, but almost surging in the light of this information. And the last couple of weeks they've been going up, and we can correlate that to oil. What this is saying here is that today's move higher on interest rates and yesterday's move higher on interest rates doesn't correlate to oil, because oil is flat.
It's on Fed language.
This is on positioning for the possibility of higher for longer short-term rates.
Interesting. Very interesting. So, yeah, my story doesn't fit yours at all.
Well, that's okay.
It's completely, totally irrelevant.
We'll scooch over here and we'll talk
That's
about
funny.
your headline now.
Yeah. So, interesting story coming out of East Nashville right now. It goes back to the classic conversation of property rights and what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do, and who's allowed to tell you what you're allowed to do. It's always interesting. I own a historic home. And so as we've been doing some pretty serious renovations on that, and within that historic zone, there are things that you can do and things that you can't. Interestingly, in Murfreesboro, at least, I could paint my house pink if I wanted to, with purple polka dots, and they would say nothing about that. But if I want to change wood windows to vinyl windows, they lose their minds.
I remember your wife making a funny joke that, like, if they wouldn't allow you guys to change out the windows and upgrade those to what you wanted, that she would do just that. She would just paint your house in a very hideous fashion.
Yes. And they could do nothing about that.
Yeah.
So that's one example, and then you have HOAs and whatnot that can dictate all the way down to the paint color on your front door. Right. I mean, that's a thing. This is a developing story.
Y'all, this is wild. This is I know where he's going with this, and it's crazy.
So last month, a house in East Nashville, over 100-year-old home, not technically. So this is the other thing, is misnomers are used a lot, right? So you have historic homes that you can get an individual home put on a historic registry. And that's one thing. Then there's a lot of control that's levied over those homes. Mine is not that, but the district that mine sits in is a historic district, and that's something that the city puts on there in order to kind of preserve the overall feel of the neighborhood, right? Well, this particular home is in a historic district. It is not a historic home where it's specifically registered APTA, for example, but there's still rules on what you can do. Well, it's also in Nashville, so Metro government has certain rules that they have. You have permits, you have all kinds of things that you have to do. Well, these people, it was a record store. They decided to just tear it down.
Who's they?
So the owners of the property.
Were they new owners or are they long-term owners?
I don't think so. I think they're long-term. So 1103 Calvin Avenue is the address. Let's see. Clay. It'd been the longtime home of a record store, The Groove, part of a historic conservation overlay to prevent sudden demolitions like this one. And then I get to the paywall. So anyway, so I'll have to get some more information on that. But whoever it was, the property owner decided to tear it down. Well, they're not supposed to do that without going through the proper channels, through the proper, permitting and whatnot. And so in the last couple of days, Metro Council said, you got to rebuild the house.
Build it back. Like it was before, right? I mean,
yeah, that's wild, y'all.
Yeah. That's talk about a mistake.
Here's the thing. The reality is I'm certain that the property owners are going to end up suing. Like this is far from done.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
but best case scenario for them now is that this is tied up in courts for a while before they can do what they had planned on doing to begin with.
Best case scenario.
And so they're out whatever, time, cost of money.
And I don't know if they, one of the things that's happening a lot and has been for a long time in East Nashville and other parts of Nashville as well, you have a nice wide lot, you have a single home on it, they tear it down, they build 2, 3, 4 other, they call it infill, right? It's happening here in Murfreesboro some as well, especially in the downtown area. So I don't know if that's what the plan was. I don't know, but either way, as of right now, you got to build it back.
Can I just say, I love that.
I don't know, man. So there's a part of me that's kind of like, look, you didn't follow the rules. You got to pay. And the rules were there before you bought the house.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the thing. I have people complain a lot when they say, I don't want to buy a house in an HOA. HOAs are, too overreaching, blah, blah, blah. Well, did you buy that house voluntarily? I mean, if you did, then, do your due diligence ahead of time, ask some neighbors, whatever, figure out, is this an HOA that I can live with? And HOAs and these historic districts and all of this stuff exists because enough people feel like whatever it is that is there, whether it's the aesthetic of the neighborhood, whether it's the historic charm of a downtown district, whatever, they feel like, and there's enough people that feel like it's worth preserving. And if they don't feel that way, suddenly there's a shift in the population's opinion, then the group can come together, whatever group it is that's affected, and abolish, change, amend, whatever, those rules. Well, until that happens, if you buy a house in those districts, you follow the rules in those districts.
So I say I like it, not from a standpoint of like, that's what the rules are, you should follow the rules. I like it from a standpoint of preservation of the charm of a community.
Sure.
And, and if it could almost be one thing, and here comes my bleeding heart. It could almost be one thing if their intention was to build, two tall and skinnies, infill, whatever, to try to address home pricing and housing affordability. But that's not what they're doing. If they're building two tall and skinnies, they're building really massive, really large square footage footprint homes straight up, which is a lot cheaper to build than building wide, right? And they're going to make a lot of money by doing that. It's not like they're doing this to try to increase the inventory of housing so the prices come down. That's not their goal. That's not their
and to be clear, again, that's perfully fine. Perfectly legal, perfectly ethical if you follow the path that you're supposed to follow to do it.
And by doing this in a neighborhood, and again, speculation, maybe they just wanted to build a nicer record store. We don't know. But whatever their thing was, is it was going to affect the look, the feel of that neighborhood, which was historically protected, and I would say probably for good reason.
Specifically for this reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things that as always, I got into a heated discussion, this has been years ago, with a family member, and they were talking about schools and, just some of the things involved in the whole school choice debate. And, my thing is, and this may aggravate you, and if it does, I'm sorry a little, but, ultimately your schools are a choice. I mean, you can choose to live where you live based on the schools that are there. Now we can get into demographics and we can get into socioeconomic, situations, right? If I live in, downtown Murfreesboro, I may not be able to afford a place in Williamson County. I get that, right? I understand. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the school that your kid attends is your choice, even if you can't get a zoning exemption. You are free to move.
You can pack up and move. I did a transaction. If it wasn't last year, it was the year before, for a guy who wanted his kids in Williamson County schools. They just bought a dream home in Murfreesboro and thought that that's where they were going to live for a long time. And then his kid got to kindergarten age. He looked up and he wasn't happy with the school his kid got into and decided to move.
Yeah,
and moved over to just across the county line.
It's totally your choice to do that.
He was weighing like, do I want to move or pay for private schools? Well, like those were his choices.
And I understand that's not a choice. That particular decision is not that everybody can do, and maybe even not most people. Totally understand that, but you can make a move in order to not. If you don't like the rules that you're under, you are free in this country to make the move. Yeah. Whether that is the school that you have to attend, whether that is the political leanings of the district you live in, whether that is the HOA, whatever it happens to be, you have the ability to do that. That being said, where is the line, I guess, on what the government can or can't do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So do we actually have property rights? I've heard people talk about that we ultimately rent our property from the government. If you think about that, even if you've paid off the mortgage on it and you own it,
still pay property taxes.
And if you don't pay them, they can still take your house from you.
Yeah.
So And that doesn't stop. It's so much so it doesn't stop that as you age, there's actually now relief where you can freeze so that it doesn't continue to go up.
Yeah.
So do you ever actually own the property?
Yes, you do. I'm on that side of the fence. Yes, you still own the property.
It's a reasonable thing to.
It's reasonable, and we can debate and we can go into all that. But at the end of the day, you own the property. The city can't sell it though. The municipality can't sell the property out from under you as long as you pay the taxes.
See, but you threw a caveat in there,
and that's sure. But like
if I own my car, I pay. Well, I guess I paid road, but I don't have to pay road taxes
if you don't take the car on the road. Yeah, I guess if you're an antique collector, you don't have to pay for tags on that vehicle, register it.
Right. And if I have an old car over 25 years old, I buy a specific kind of plate, I don't ever have to renew that.
Yeah.
Now, there's rules that go with that,
sure.
Right? And the point of this exercise, if you will, right, is what do we voluntarily give up as our rights in exchange for a perceived value? Right. The property owner that we started this conversation about had a perceived value for owning that piece of property in East Nashville on that street in that district. Right. They perceived a value, whatever it is. They love the house. They like the color. They like the location. They
saw an investment opportunity.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. Right. They had a perceived value in that property, subject to knowing that those rules were on top of that property. Right. And so they traded their ability to tear that house down at will in order to have that perceived value. And then they went ahead and did it anyway. And now there's consequences.
They got slapped on that wrist.
It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah. All right. Trent, if you could take us over to pro tip. All right. So in our networking group this morning, the real estate agent in our group,
you name him,
Cody, good dude.
Yeah.
He gets up and he's telling a story about how he had, I don't know how he knows the person, if it's a friend, if it's an acquaintance, whatever it might be. He's got an opportunity to help a client, and she is wanting to buy the house that she owns.
What?
I'm sorry. She's wanting to buy the house that she's renting. She's living in. And
Got
so I don't want to give too many
that's fine.
details and stuff. So she's like, hey, you're not having to drive me all over town. I think you should cut your commission. Well, my commission is negotiable. Let's talk about this. And so he presents his value, and I'll spare you guys all the details and everything. But his point to her was, I'm not a chauffeur. My value is not just in showing you 25 houses. Some people buy the first house I show. Some people buy the 15th house I show. That's not where my value is.
Some people don't buy.
My value is in getting you to the closing table. And we don't know what might come up in your transaction. We don't know what you might ask the seller for as far once you get in. Because, yeah, you live in the house, but have you really gone in the crawl space? Have you really done an inspection of this? Like, you don't know what might come up. And so he presents all the reasons why he's valuable. She ends up ultimately deciding not to use him. And so I correlated this to a story out of Ohio where we've got some family, and there's a guy up there who has got a career and has decided that he wanted to dabble in the real estate. So he gets a real estate license, and he kind of, he does the things, but he never really has any transactions. License goes into retirement. He thinks he's done. All of a sudden he gets a friend, wants to buy a house. And so he goes out and shows them over 20 houses.
They pull his license out of retirement?
Pulled his license out of retirement. Shows them 20 houses after back and forth, working with a local lender up there who didn't do a great job. Finally got them to talk to me. So get them pre-qualified. They go and they write an offer on a house. They get the house. They go and they do the inspection. The inspection goes like a home inspection is usually going to go. There's some things.
Sure.
So they start to panic a little bit. I believe there's a father-in-law that gets involved.
Happens.
And next thing you know, they've got super cold feet, and they ask for the moon, stuff that our family member doesn't think that the sellers will do. And he's like, they're trying to sabotage this. And so They go and they present the list to the sellers. The sellers say, we'll do this and this and this, but we're not gonna do it all. Kill the deal. Let's terminate it. Oh, sellers come back now. We'll do it all. We'll do everything. We'll do everything you asked for. Nope. We're good. We're not going to buy it. We're cold feet. We're out. And I was like, that is a great example. No knock on my family. Like my family member was doing this really more out of the goodness of their heart. Didn't even really want to, but felt like, hey, they want to use us and they're friends. So we'll show them some houses. But and I don't even really think that it was my family member's fault that this fell through, but my family member did not have the experience to mitigate the situation, to talk the buyer through it. And it's just, to me, it reinforced the conversation that we've had. We haven't really had it in a year or so, but when the buyer's agency representation, when that lawsuit got settled, we spoke of how a good listing agent will want a strong buyer's agent on the other side to try to help keep deals together.
Mm-hmm.
And if we get into a market where buyers are having to pay their own agents and more choose to go the discount route or to go unrepresented, you'll see as sellers, be prepared to see more and more. If you're not going to pay the buyer's agent commission as part of that negotiation and the offer strategy section, then expect there to be more fall through on offers just across the board, I think.
Well, and I've got several thoughts on this as well.
So I don't know where that comes in with a pro tip, but I guess
here's the pro tip on that.
Is some experience matters.
Yeah.
And that your realtor's value isn't just in showing you a bunch of houses or maybe helping you find a house that's on the MLS.
Yeah.
Or maybe even one that's off of the MLS.
Yeah.
The realtor's value does not stop when the offer is accepted.
No, that's when it really starts. And so, the pro tip here, there's a couple of them. Number one, is be wary of somebody that is willing to cut their commission, that doesn't understand their value. And as we see, we talk about how we're doing about half of the closings this year, or the beginning of the year that we did at the same time, even last year. Like transaction counts way down. So desperation breath is bad right now. There's some halitosis going on. And, so as we see that, more and more and more agents that haven't done deals in a long time are willing to take whatever they can get. So whatever they'll cut that commission to, be wary of that, right? I don't cut my commission very often. I don't have to. And I don't have to because I'm very good at what I do. And I'm okay saying that.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm comfortable saying that.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I tell people right out the gate, I'm probably not going to be the person that actually finds the house for you. I'll set up searches. You're going to look at those responses. You get them in real time. You're going to look at them way more often and way faster than I do. So there's a good chance that you'll find the house that we go and look at. And then as far as like opening a door and showing you the house, I do start my value proposition at that point. Cause I've been in enough home inspections at this point. I can start to spot problems in a house before you spend money on a home inspection. So that's where it starts.
Yeah.
The second thing is reading the scenario and understanding how and what kind of offer to make on a house, right? You got to read the room literally sometimes, you know what I mean? And then, when you're a lot of those circumstances where I've had a few where a buyer is buying the house that they rent in. I've facilitated a few of those. Man, some of those are pitfalls. They can get really, really, really ugly. Because if that house has been a rental house, even if you've been the one renting it for the last 3 or 4 years, like you said, you don't even know what's in there.
Yeah.
Right. And you don't look at it because you don't have to. If something breaks, you get somebody else to fix it.
Yeah.
So you're not familiar with it. There's just so many things you don't even know that you can do, let alone what you should do. It's kind of crazy. And, sometimes landlords will try to take advantage of those situations.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Trent, take us over to This Is Real. Oh man, she got her slides on.
Does she come with the house?
Does she convey?
Yeah.
That's the favorite thing to say in this segment. I always I bet if we do this segment 4 times a month, I bet I say, does it convey 3 times.
Yeah. I mean, what would you do if that was in the special steps included in this property?
Is the nanny, the grandma nanny?
Yeah,
That's
and her
funny.
slides.
Yeah, that's what
Would
else
that
can we?
get thrown out? Does FHA cover that?
I don't think so. Yeah, that we'd have to remove that from the contract. You have to have a separate contract for the slides. How about the window washout, man? Just again, basic photography. I mean,
Well, it's not. It's basic now. It didn't used to be, but that's not a thing anymore for a professional photographer.
Yeah,
and the angle. I mean, this is somebody
yeah.
trying to,
Yeah,
hold the phone up and get an angle. It's just
you're not
all
taking a
around bad.
selfie. You don't need to do. I mean,
It's just all around bad. Just bad.
No, really. This is the selfie angle. You're not doing this.
Don't do this either, because if you do that, then people look up your nose.
Yeah. But when you're taking real estate pictures, if you are using your phone,
don't.
But hold it about chest high, and make sure you have the settings on. You can change the settings on your phone camera to make it a little bit better, and then don't.
That's really the best
hire a
advice.
photographer.
Yeah. Somebody that does it for a living.
So, shiny penny.
So I'm going to deviate just a little bit from real estate, but it ties back in. We have a great community, Brian, and on Tuesday night, Cedar Glade, we hosted a big St. Patrick's Day party, and we had just hosted a big festival a few weeks prior. And during that St. Patrick's Day party, we have a mug club, where are we at now? 117 members or whatever it is, 118 members. And got a few spots still open, by the way, if you're interested in joining this great community. And they presented us with a really cool carving that the chainsaw guy did at the festival. And several of our mug club members kind of spoke a little bit and said thank you and presented this. And it was cool to know that within our bigger community, there are other communities that support you, that love you, that accept you, and that we can build and be part of. And it was just one of those like faith in humanity type things. Yeah, we're a brewery. Yeah, it's a bar, right? Quote unquote. But man, it's so much more than that for a lot of folks. Yeah. And, you might feel the same way about your church. You might feel the same way about, some civic organization that you're part of. And that's cool. And I'm very happy for that. And so it's not like we can have too many of those types of places.
Well, I think the shiny penny there is bigger than just the brewery, bigger than just the tap room. It's the fact that there still are third places. And for you, maybe that's a coffee shop, maybe it's your church, maybe it's
the library,
maybe whatever it might be,
a park,
maybe it's a park, but you've got that third place where you go and you see people that and that you interact
everybody's with. Accepted. Everybody. Yeah.
It's the whole cheers. Everybody knows your name. It's just, there's something to be said for those third places. And so that's the shiny penny here, I think, is that they're in this world where we spend our lives like this and we're scrolling this and liking that and worried about what our algorithm's feeding to us and things.
My fat roll.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There are people who choose to, I saw this the other day, live in the 90s. And so what does that mean? We're going to go live in the 90s.
That's awesome.
We're going to go out to eat in the 90s.
I get it totally. Yeah.
Put their phone down at their house. They're not even going to leave it in the car. They're going to leave their phone at the house. So the car ride to the restaurant, they're engaged. Their time at the restaurant, you've got to have a conversation with the person or the person.
We should throw a 90s night at the brewery.
We really should. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay. I love it. That's good. That's a good shiny penny.
So the next time you're in
next
time, if you are local and you do come into the Cedar Glade tap room, keep your eye out for this
for Winky,
this carving of this mascot that the brewery has kind of adopted. His image is on the coasters. His image is, you can see squirrel, not notes of squirrel or nods to squirrels kind of throughout the tap room. Well, there's going to be one real big one now, and it's about a 2 3 foot tall.
Nice. Yeah, at least.
Three, squirrel that's got a nut right here, and he's winking.
That's a beer, dude.
It's a beer.
That's a beer.
I was looking at it today, and the angle that I was, because our networking group meets there,
Mhm.
the angle it was kind of.
No, it's a beer. I'm gonna put a little brass plaque on it that says Winky.
Okay.
Mug 001.
Love it.
Yeah. What's next?
Oh yeah, what's next? I guess that's the show, isn't it?
Real
Feels
quick.
like it was short today.
Yeah. I don't think he's got them pulled up, but we've got an open house this weekend, Sunday 2 to 4 at our Lantern Lane listing. That's kind of difficult, actually. Beautiful house, corner lot, new carpet, freshened up paint, great layout, covered porch. Anyway, I got all the cool stuff, community pool, all of that. So 2 to 4. Oh, look, there's Winky.
Yeah.
Good job. There he is. Yep, that was a good day. So come check out the open house for sure. Still got that listing out in Portland. And then we have a piece of land. I haven't talked about this in a while. We have a piece of land in it's Manchester, like in between Manchester and Wartrace. 16 acres. It's gorgeous. It's got like this creek ravine thing going through. It's just beautiful. Build site with, you can put as much soil as you want. You want a 5-bedroom? It's there.
Right. That's what's that listed for?
So that one is listed. Where are we at? 300 on that? No, 399. Sorry, 400.
Nice. That sounds like a great opportunity.
Mm-hmm. I think that's it.
Excellent.
Are we done?
I think so.
No, we did a show.
Hey,
real quick, I wanted to give a shout out to another real estate guy, our buddy Rob Jansen. They're having a show tomorrow, Stones River Revival. So Rob works over at John Jones Real Estate. Anyway, so he is in a band. It's called Stones River Revival. It's their last show for now with their lead singer. That's going to be tomorrow night over at Cedar Glade. It's going to be a good time.
It's going to be a fun night.
Yeah, come see it.
Cool. All right. Thanks for watching.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to another episode of This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your go-to resource for all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Be sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. We will see y'all on the next one.
Now for the nitty-gritty. Primis Mortgage Company is a subsidiary of Primis Bank, a member FDIC. Primis Mortgage NMLS number 1894879, BK number 1042893, ML number 1894879. As always, all loans are subject to credit approval and product guidelines. Equal housing lender.